Welcome to TLC, 10 Life Community Podcast, where we dive into the heart of our local community, its wineries, restaurants, business, and real estate. Hi, I'm your host, Troy Anderson, along with my co-host, Pamela, and we're here to bring you a new perspective on what's happening in our community.
Yes, we are.
This week, we have special guests to the show, Andy and Amanda Heilman of Heilman Deck Fence. Welcome to the show.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, all things outdoors.
We're gearing up for spring and
This is
summer.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. All right, but as always, we start off the show with our Sipping on Success, where we open something local. We get to enjoy it. We talk about it a little bit so our audience can feel like they're sitting at the table with us. What do you have for us this week, Troy?
I brought in some Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. That
Which
sounds
is
like a great spring summer wine to me.
It's a great summer porch pounder.
Oh, jeez. I just open the door every time. One day he'll forget. Although
not.
usually when he forgets, I do it just because it's his thing. It's a bit
That's
of a shtick.
the porch pounder thing. This is not a porch pounder. So this is a Sauv Blanc from Barnard Griffin, which is, they have a tasting room in Wine Walk Row.
That was easy for you to say.
I know, I can never say that. It's like, gets stuck on my tongue there. But they're over in the Hollywood district over there.
Oh, it's
District
going to be a
Flats.
good one today.
I know, right?
Are you sure you haven't had a glass of wine already?
We had an event earlier, but yeah, there was no wine.
Okay. All right. So, cheers, everybody. We're going to
Cheers.
talk about
Cheers.
it. We're going to try it as we always do. Tell us, while everybody kind of puts their nose in the glass and has a little sniff and a taste, tell us why this particular winery and this particular wine, Troy, please.
I like them and their brand. They're very artsy. The missus of the brand does a lot of art, and so their tasting room is fun. And Alana is the tasting room manager there, and so yeah, it's just it's a great spot to stop in. It's just up from the soccer fields, and so there's Ballard Pizza on the corner, and then they're kind of in the middle there, and it's just it's a fun little place to go. And I thought Sauv Blanc because we're gearing up for summer, and it's we're just getting ready for that nice crisp taste on the porch to pound it away.
So, and one thing to note, you mentioned there the wife is very artistic.
Yeah.
I believe that the glass frontage on the bar in their tasting room was actually all of the glass
Yeah.
was made by her and
Correct.
Installed.
We're not
by
doing her. We're probably not doing her as much justice as she deserves, but yeah, it's definitely worth a look to get into the tasting room and take a look at that.
Yeah,
And
it's a good excuse to go in, take a look, and sit back and relax with a glass of wine.
yeah,
All right, so let's talk about the flavor profile of this wine. Has everyone had an opportunity to take a little sip or two?
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go first? What are you smelling? What are you tasting?
I think apricot, maybe a little
Yeah.
bit apricot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
definitely fruity
Yep.
and crisp.
I got some grapefruit, a little bit of grapefruit on the nose.
On the
and,
nose,
yeah.
okay. I would agree with that. I think I'm getting a little melon on the nose. I haven't tried it yet because
okay.
while everyone
Because you've been
else,
talking.
Well, because everyone else is enjoying it, I have to. We don't want dead air, so I've got to talk. So somebody else say something, and I'll take a sip.
It's delicious,
Something,
and I could see you drinking it on your deck.
Yes,
Great
for sure.
point.
Great segue.
Yeah, we're not
yes,
talking about porches today. We're talking
about decks. Yes, yes.
All right. So, anything else to note on this? It's really fresh. It's really
It's very
light.
bright. Yes.
Does have that little bit of kind of lemony kind of feel to it.
It's got that
kind of little
acidic-
zest.
A little tart.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it brings out the saliva in your mouth, which
Yep.
would go good with some food.
We haven't talked about food for a while.
I know.
What food are you going to put with it, Troy?
All wine goes good with food.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of cheese and crackers,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grapes.
Nice pasta dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some apricots even.
Some apricots and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frozen fruit.
Frozen fruit? Yeah.
Frozen fruit's
actually.
fun too, yeah.
With,
Right in
you
the
know-
glass.
Oh, yeah. Actually.
Oh, yeah.
Sangria, here we go.
That would be good.
That would be good. All right, I like this. I can see this
This
being...
is a very well balanced
Yeah.
Blanc, yeah.
To be fair, we've just opened the bottle too, so give it a little bit of time. Those flavors are really going to kind of open up.
And it's pretty cold right now too. So the rule of thumb on wine is white wine out of the fridge for 20 minutes before you serve it, and then red wine in if it's
Oh,
room
really?
temperature. Yeah.
Okay, I learned something today.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
if you don't have a wine storage
Okay, we're not all
refrigerator,
bougie like you.
yeah, stick your room temperature red in for 20 minutes and pull your white out 20 minutes before you serve
I
it.
had no idea that you were
Interesting.
supposed to. Well, I mean, my white wine's always in the fridge, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't realize that you should put red wine in for 20 minutes before you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that change the flavor of it?
It does a little bit. I mean, it's probably wine connoisseurs are probably cringing hearing this, but yeah, I mean, it does. It makes it a little bit cooler,
Okay.
just so because no one likes warm wine.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
warm red wine. I
Yeah,
should
not
say.
particularly.
Yeah.
And don't put an ice cube in it.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I've
that'll
done
ruin
that
it.
before.
In a red?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And did it taste watered down?
No.
Okay, all right. I take it back then. If you're in a pinch, stick an ice cube in it. All right. Well, we're going to continue to enjoy this wine, as Troy said. You know, take an opportunity to go down to the tasting room. They've got lots to offer down there, not just white, but
Oh yeah, they've got really, really, really nice reds.
yeah, it's one of our faves for sure. But we're going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into all things decks, fences, and outdoor living.
Let's do
All
it.
right.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Okay, stay tuned.
Introducing our Buy Before You Sell program. Hey, homeowners, it's Troy Anderson at Tend Home Team EXP. Thinking of upgrading to your dream home but hesitant about the selling process? Introducing the Buy Before You Sell program at Tend Home Team and Troy Anderson. Picture this. You find your dream home, but your current one hasn't hit the market yet. No problem. With our innovative program, you can buy your new home before listing your current one. That's right. No need to wait. Move in seamlessly from one home to the next without the stress of timing. When you partner with us, you get more than just a transaction. You get peace of mind knowing that your real estate journey is in excellent hands. Because at Tend Home Team, we're committed to making your dream a reality one step at a time. Ready to make a move? Contact us today, 206-504-3660, tendhometeam.com. That's 206-504-3660. Troy Anderson and Tend Home Team, where your dream home journey begins before you even sell.
Welcome back to TLC 10 Life Community here, and we are just going to dive right into all things outdoor living, decks, and fences with Amanda and Andy Heilman. So, tell us a little bit about your background. What led you to start and become part of the business?
Okay. I mean, I've always really enjoyed working with my hands and creating things, you know, and been creative that way. I spent my early working years in corporate world. I went to school and have a bachelor's degree from University of Washington with a
Okay.
specialty in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I kind of always knew I wanted to do something,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure what. And so about 14 years ago, we decided that it was time to jump in and try something out. And I figured
Cool.
that because I really enjoyed working with my hands, it'd be a great place to start. And it's really proven to be excellent. We work with homeowners that really do appreciate what we build, and you know the feedback we get from them and the real, you know, excitement that they get from our projects really drives us.
That's cool. I know some of those outdoor projects can be pretty extensive. So what keeps you passionate about this work?
I really enjoy, you know, learning new things and, you know, getting involved with the upcoming, you know, products that are, you know, being released to the market. You know, with whether it's composite decking or alternate framing, things like that, really
Gotcha.
helps us to stay on the forefront. But I really enjoy seeing people's reaction when we walk into a project and you take down something that you almost can't walk on, and you leave something there that'll be, you know, in great shape for 30 to 50 years.
Gotcha.
And if you would have told me that 10 years ago I would be not working in the corporate world and working from home, owning our own business, and working with my husband,
Yeah, that's always a joy, huh?
I don't think I would have believed you.
Yeah.
They just got too big. There was too much, and it was really fast. And it got to the point where I just couldn't go to work every day and work an 8-hour day and then come home and work 6 more hours in
Oh,
our home
boy.
office.
Right.
So I finally got to quit my job, and I do all the paperwork. I mean, I love it, honestly. Like, I'm
Okay.
super organized and meticulous, attention to detail. Like, that's me. And I love customer service. That's my background. I also have my degree, so it just works out for both of us to work together. We both have our strong suits for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. My experience with contractors is they definitely need someone like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
out there making the mess and breaking
Yes.
things and building them back up. And
Yes.
Yep.
It's the people behind the scenes
Yeah.
that keep it all kind of
Exactly.
on an even keel.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
yeah, so every company has its own philosophy when it comes to craftsmanship. How do you describe the Heilman way of designing and building fences and outdoor living and decks, things like that?
I mean, we really focus on, high end, I wouldn't say luxury builds, but very nice quality products.
Okay.
We sell the best products you can buy. We have the best team in the industry, in my opinion. We work really hard to train our people to be excellent at what they do.
Gotcha.
And the guys that we have really care about what they build. And so, when we talk about projects we do, we had a meeting this week where we're like, okay, how do we make ourselves better? We're continuously learning, continuously growing, making sure our processes are being adjusted as necessary to meet the demands.
Right.
And we really focus on a high-touch environment, meaning, the customer calls us, they talk to one of us on the phone typically, and then we're involved through the process.
Okay.
Our employees do the work, but we're always, involved with those discussions on the back end, making sure that things are going appropriately so that the expectations are met.
Sounds like you might have done the work in the past, though, right?
I did. When we first started, we were
both
both
did.
we were both building.
both
Wait,
did.
we're swinging a hammer
Is,
too?
is there photos?
Oh,
Oh,
I
I'm
was
sure.
in the best shape of my life those couple summers.
Yep.
That sounds like fun, actually.
Yeah. No, it was fun. We started out from nothing. We both had day jobs, and
Okay.
we were working on the weekends and trying to make this work. And
That's great.
over time, we transitioned out.
And we really I think too, we're really passionate about being open and honest with our customers. I'm not going to go in and sell you something down here and knowing that in the end you're going to be having so many change orders that you're going to be spending more and more and more as we get through the project. Like, we're going to tell you from start to finish, this is how much everything's going to cost.
Right.
I mean, yeah, we might run into something if your house has rot we can't see,
Yeah.
but that's rare. And when we bring them out there and we show them this is what we have to do to fix it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we really pride ourselves in that.
Yep. Very collaborative with the
Yeah.
clients.
Very
We want
much.
to make sure that we're asking what they want and producing that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think that's super important, and then that kind of leads us into, talking about, obviously we're in real estate, so thinking about homeowners and what they're looking for, but also educating people and educating homeowners on, what are the smart approaches? So what are the smart investments and the best practices when it comes to this? And so one of the questions that kind of comes to my mind, and I think does for a lot of homeowners, is when to repair versus replace, right? So it's a big question, is whether do you fully repair portions of a fence or a deck, or fully replace it? And what are some of the key signs to that that will help them make that decision before they call you? I mean, obviously we want them to call you and get that expert opinion, but
Yeah.
people have to have that internal dialogue first, right? So it's
Absolutely.
always good to kind of give some parameters of what people should think about when making those decisions.
I think on the fence side of it, I mean, really, if your fence is super old, 20 to 30 years, and it's starting to have a little bit of wobble, it's going to cost you more in the long run to replace 1 or 2 panels, 3 panels, because maybe in a year, 2 more panels are going to break. I mean, you really just kind of have to watch for that. In the big windstorms, right, we get a lot of tree damage.
Yeah.
If the tree knocks down 1 or 2 panels, but your fence is only 5 years old, yes, we want to repair it at that point. You don't want to just replace a whole fence line because of that.
Right.
It's really the rot. If it's starting to rot down at the bottom, if you're starting to lose boards, if you've noticed how many times a squirrel or a chipmunk has run across and chewed on the top of your fence, and you're starting to
Yes.
get that growth on there, it's time to replace it versus repairing it.
Gotcha.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the same kind of key components for decking?
I think for decks is a little bit different. We still are really, we really pay attention to the structure, because that's really when the structure starts to have issues is when you need to really seriously think about replacing it, because it becomes a safety hazard.
Right.
If you have a deck that's 8 feet in the air and you've got beams that are rotten in the middle, there's nothing saying that beam isn't eventually going to give way.
Right.
And so
Well, I've seen where they're painted and they look great from the outside, but boy, the inside of those boards sometimes are just rotted out
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
unsafe.
yeah,
So,
no,
so I was
go ahead.
gonna say, you obviously can go and look at that, but before you come over, what should a homeowner be looking for on their deck to say, okay, this is a conversation I need to have with you guys, as opposed to, okay, I can get another year or so out of it.
If you start to notice the deck boards are, you can step through them. I mean, we go to bids and I find holes all
Oh,
over decks
okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
times. So if someone puts their
Yeah.
foot through a deck, it's time to make the phone call.
Yeah.
You know, if it's really wiggly and moving around as you're walking on it, it's time to get that looked at because it could be a safety hazard.
Okay. I mean, obviously, all of these things cost money, right? And maximising your budget for any homeowner is crucial. So it's, where do you spend and where do you save? And not everybody has an unlimited budget. I mean, there's very few people that do. I mean, those that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother subject. But, when you don't have that unlimited budget for these outdoor projects, what are some of the smart investments homeowners can make when planning a deck or a fence? And on the flip side, where do you see people trying to cut corners that might hurt them in the long run?
I think on some of the deck side of it is really like invest in the longevity, because even though you might go into this thinking, well, if I do cedar, yeah, it's going to be cheaper right now, but every single year you have to clean, sand, stain, redo that. You're spending so much time and so much money in the long run. Whereas if you just went with that, even if it's a lower level composite decking to start with, it's 30 to 50 years before you're doing anything to it.
I'm never doing another wood deck. Terrible.
No.
I mean, they look and smell great, like up front, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
just the cedar never really. Even if you treat it and take care of it every year, pressure wash it, retreat it again, it just never really looks the same as well.
No.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
The same for fencing? The composite fencing. I've seen them and I'm intrigued by it. Okay, you guys are pulling faces, so.
So I have my opinions about composite fences. I mean, so when you look at a true composite fence, it's extremely heavy material typically.
yeah.
And what happens with composite is the wood fiber in the core will swell with moisture.
Okay.
And that happens with deck boards, and they do what they can to protect it. But if you have it on a fence and it's not well protected, sometimes you can have issues with swelling over time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so so cutting corners. I mean, obviously, you just talked about the cedar. Is there any other places that people shouldn't cut corners?
Yeah, on the structure, it's very, very important. So we get calls from customers who had us out for a bid and hired someone else and call us and say, hey, can you come look at this? It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And when I show up, I'll find things like undersized joists for the span that's required
Yeah.
for code. You'll find the 12 by 12 pier blocks that you buy at Home Depot for footings sitting on top of the ground. It's not to code. It has to be a footing with rebar in the ground, appropriately sized to support the weight. And when you make those decisions and you buy those substandard materials, you can't fix it after it's been done. It's very difficult to go back and retrofit something that's been done wrong when it's a structure.
Okay.
And so do your homework, make sure that what you're buying is truly correct, especially when it comes to structure.
Okay, well that leads us into kind of that next thing. You've got the DIYers and versus hiring a pro,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
With the rise of YouTube tutorials, I've seen myself go into YouTube like, how can I do that? There's some
Yeah.
things you should do yourself, you can do yourself, and other things you should definitely hire a pro. I'm
Yeah.
going to say Dex is one
Yeah.
of them, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yep.
So there is this rise on, home improvement shows as well as the YouTube tutorials. And many people think they can tackle these projects by themselves. What are some of the common mistakes DIYers make when it comes to fences and decks? You kind of alluded to a couple of them there, but you were talking more in the instance of pros doing it and cutting corners.
Yeah.
But, when it's the DIYer that's doing it, and are there projects that the homeowners can reasonably take on when it comes to that? Because obviously we're all living in a time where we're thinking about our budgets and what we're spending. So, without obviously wanting to take anything away from you guys, what can you kind of tell our audience in this?
I think so on the side of fencing, not to downplay it, but really if you have something to dig with and you can measure how deep to put your posts and you have a hammer and some nails, honestly, like you could probably build your own fence, right? Like homeowners, I mean, you can do it. It probably might take
It's
you.
not fun.
It's not fun, and it might take you a very long time. But it's something that you could probably do. Whereas with decks, there's so many code requirements and so many manufacturer specifications. If you don't put the deck board down with the proper clip, with the proper spacing, with the proper joist size, you call for a manufacturer warranty defect, no, forget it. Like, you will never get a warranty claim on that deck again if you haven't done it exactly to spec.
Okay.
So you really got to do your homework and your research, and there's so much money in the tools that you need. Holy moly.
Yeah.
So,
I think when it comes to decking, a lot of the areas where people can do it themselves is the repair side of things.
Yeah.
If you have deck boards that are showing their age, or you pressure wash your deck and a chunk falls off of a deck board, it's time to
Right.
replace that board. Doing that is fairly straightforward. You take it up, you put new screws down, and you're kind of done. When it comes to building a deck, if you're going to take that on yourself, you need to educate yourself using current code standards to make sure that what you're doing is safe.
Well, that's important for resale too, for my industry. I mean,
Well,
I
I
go
was
out
gonna
and
say.
see DIY decks done, or hodgepodge repairs to where
Yeah.
sometimes the boards aren't all replaced, but some of them are, and it's just kind of that's kind of a red flag for
Yeah.
anyone.
It almost detracts from the
Yeah,
buyer.
for
'cause they're
sure,
like,
for sure.
I can't trust what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, when are the rest of these gonna fail, or what's the substructure like? Definitely.
Right, so if you need a good workout, do your own fence. But
Yeah.
I have to tell you,
Yeah.
if you've already got a fence up and you try and dig out those cement things where you post work, oh boy, is that a workout.
Yep.
Yeah, sure is.
I'm not saying I did it, but my husband might have.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of work.
I've done that before too, and it's
Yeah.
definitely a workout.
It's a lot
So,
of work.
well, fences used to be about privacy and security, but today they can add a ton of personality to a home. What are some of the more unique and creative fencing solutions you've seen recently?
I've seen a lot of unique and creative solutions. We deal with everything. People are doing a lot of stuff like fun fences around their garden, their home
Okay.
garden maybe, to keep animals out, but they want to look good. Or instead of building like a full fence between you and your neighbor, we can come up with some really cool custom cedar privacy screens. So instead of just having a 6-foot tall wood fence, like really neat, like maybe lattice or something, or building a pergola or a trellis, where you can grow things. A lot of people are doing maybe shorter, just like boundary line fencing, like in their front yard. Cool, like horizontal's a thing now. It's
I was
Yeah.
going to say, I'm seeing a lot of that, and I kind of
Yeah.
like it.
it's really neat.
I like the modern look.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is. It's very modern. It's very cool, and it's just a really nice feature to add to something, And so we've been seeing a lot of that recently.
Yeah, we're also seeing things like inserts that people are buying. They're like a black
yeah.
cast iron insert that we're putting into gates. So the gate's no longer just a wall of fencing.
Okay,
There's like a
right.
cutout in the middle where the metal insert goes in to give it some detail and some character.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So really starting to add some personality into
Yeah.
these things rather than just being functional. They're becoming pretty.
Oh, really
Exactly.
fun. And
Yeah.
you can do, it can get real expensive. I mean, we've worked for some customers in Mill Creek, and they have gone to a custom welding shop, gotten their own insert custom welded, and had us install it for them, like in their fence or in their gate. It's really kind of cool.
I've seen some of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some of those where there's like a gate, and then two panels on each side, but nothing else.
Oh, sure.
it's more of a decorative
Yeah,
screening.
yeah.
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 I haven't
And maybe
seen
some plantings.
that. Okay.
And I've seen a few of those recently. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That you just want to prevent people from coming down your driveway, but you don't need
You don't need
the
the
full security.
Yeah.
It's almost more of an accent than
Yeah.
anything. It's just a barrier, but not really a full enclosed
Sure.
wall
A
system.
deterrent.
We'll do that a lot for people who don't want you to walk your dog in their lawn.
Oh,
Okay.
So
sense.
we do that a lot too.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you've spent time, energy, and money on your garden, you don't
Yeah.
necessarily want somebody else's animal doing their thing in there. Okay. Well, on the flip side of that, obviously, you guys don't just do fences; you do decks. So we talked about that as well. And decks aren't just decks anymore. I mean, things have moved along. I mean, people are getting really creative with that. They're more. I'm seeing, and I'm sure you guys are as well, more and more that they're becoming these extra living spaces, right? So there's outdoor living room for their entertainment hubs, even for people that work from home. They set themselves up, on a nice day. They've got
Yep.
their little kind of desk area or whatever that looks like. What are some of the crazy ways you've seen homeowners transform their decks into something more than just a simple structure? Because, I mean, some people might already have it and they want to expand or just enhance it, and people might be starting from scratch. So what are you seeing? What do you really love about what's on the horizon with this?
I mean, outdoor living has really become a focus
Yeah.
in the most recent years. People are spending more time outside with their families because they realize that that's where they want to be. And so we find that many customers are asking for 3-season rooms or patio covers or the new smart pergolas.
I was
from
going to
some
say,
of these
smart
companies.
pergolas
Yep.
are
They're big now.
they're all over my Facebook feed.
No,
Yep.
they're great.
They're very,
Yep.
they're
You've
very
obviously been
cool.
looking to buy.
Yep. They're amazing ones. We've got a couple projects scheduled this year, and they've got 2 different sets of lights, and they've got heaters built in, and
TV
fans,
mounts,
and
heater mounts,
all
And
kinds
they've got
of cool
louvers
stuff.
too, so
They're all
actually-
louvers.
rain sensor
Yeah.
louvers.
They close when it rains. They open when it's
Yeah.
not raining. It's
Wow.
it's
That's
pretty
really
impressive.
cool.
I know
So
there's a price tag that comes with that.
there is, but honestly, it really adds a lot of value
Yeah.
to these properties because they can now use this 1,000 square foot deck in some cases more than just on the sunny days.
Yeah.
When you start adding heaters into those spaces, it can be used in the fall and the spring when it's still cold outside and you're not actually cold under your cover.
Or
Right.
fans for in the summer. I mean, when we do get that week of really hot weather
Yeah.
and you want
Fans
a fan.
and misters.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, or to keep the bugs away or whatever.
Yeah.
People will have those automatic screens that come down. I mean, we've done full blown outdoor kitchens, fridge, and whole like dining space. Rows of barbecues.
Oh, that's fun.
It's been
Yeah.
it's really really fun to go back and take photos and videos and things of those projects when we're finished. It's really neat.
Yeah, I like the idea of a deck, that kind of outdoor living. In the UK, a lot of people have conservatories. I don't think it's a thing here.
Oh.
Like, I guess you would probably call it a sunroom.
sunroom,
right?
yeah.
You add on to a property
Yeah, yeah.
afterwards. Is that something people can do with decks too? Kind of, whether it's retracting doors or something that kind of can have it be, rather than 2 seasonal or 3 seasonal, it can have it year round,
Yeah.
pull that in.
Yeah, a lot of these, going back to the smart pergolas, they have glass walls that go around those that you can purchase. So you can
Really?
actually turn those into a 4-season room if you wanted to close them in and turn the heaters on. You could
Wow.
keep the heat in. There are people that have sunrooms and things like that, but it's less common here because people want to take advantage of being able to open it up
Yeah,
and close it up
Yeah.
so they can use it at multiple times a year.
right. Okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as things evolve in the technology world, what do you think the future holds for outdoor spaces, decks, and fences?
We're going to see a lot more automation get ingrained in those areas. I mean, it's
Okay.
already you can purchase these pergola systems. They come with a app for your phone that you can control everything about that. And now they're also adding, lighting controls for other areas of the yard into the same app, so it's going to be kind of controlled through the same interface.
I think
I like
too,
that.
on top of just that, we're seeing a lot of like the new fire rating. So especially with
Oh.
all the wildfires that happened everywhere, a lot of that now is going to like maybe steel framing or fire rated decking. I mean,
Oh.
when we were at a conference and they literally showed us a video of 3 different deck boards on fire and how much did it burn and how long did it take and did it ever go out or did it just keep going? And they're really moving to more and more safety with that kind of thing now, which I
So
think
what
is
kind
really
of deck
cool.
board is fire resistant?
So they make so the PVC deck boards are typically the ones that are more fire
Oh,
resistant
okay.
than the wood fiber composites.
Okay.
AZEK is a brand that we use, owned by TimberTech.
I've seen them.
They're fantastic, and they have a Class A fire rating. So
Okay.
if you're in a wildfire zone, a lot of insurance companies are going to start to
Require
most likely
that.
require that.
Yeah.
And when you watch, it's not a publicly available video because it was just an in-house training that we went to, but you can watch it smolder and drip, but as soon as they turn the flame off, it goes out immediately. So it will not transfer to the house.
That's important.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
amazing.
People with barbecue fires, the same reason for
Yeah.
that. I mean, you have a barbecue fire out on your deck, it's hard to put that out if it's grease based.
Right.
And if you have a deck that's made out of that material, it won't transfer to the house.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it's harder
important.
to talk about innovation with fencing because fencing's pretty general, right? We've been building fences out of cedar forever. So, I mean, there are other products, vinyl and things like that, composite out there, but, there's some steel framing that you can get even for your fences as well, but there hasn't been a lot of, I guess, innovation on that side of things. So we just really rely on cedar.
Okay. But you're not opposed to doing those other products for people if they really
No.
want it.
Oh yeah, if you want it, we'll do anything. We're very custom.
I like that. All right, we're talking about cedar and all the different options. Weatherproofing in the PNW is something that is challenging. We love it here, but our climate can be pretty rough on outdoor structures. What are some of the biggest weather-related challenges for decks and fences in the PNW, and what steps do you take to make sure that the builds last? I mean, you talked about steel and things like that, but can you kind of talk us through what's the mindset behind making sure that these things are weather resistant, because they're not going to be weatherproof?
No.
No, not as much. So with specifically for decks, they make products called joist tape, and there's a bunch of different manufacturers out there. We install that on top of our joist to keep any water that would get into that board over time. It helps keep that barrier in place for much, much longer, and it keeps the boards
Even
from
on
rotting.
treated boards?
It does work on treated boards because the tape that we use has a very thick, gooey type membrane to it, and so when the fasteners go through it, the water can't wick through that same spot. It reseals around it. In addition to that, I mean, there's framework out there. You know, Fortress makes a steel framing, TimberTech makes an aluminum framing, PWT up in Burlington makes a engineered LVL framing that we use a lot of, and it's treated all the way through. There's no internal wood that's untreated.
LVL?
LVL, it's a laminated beam, so it's basically
Okay,
stacks
yeah,
of
yeah.
plywood that go together to create a joist.
Gotcha.
And it's engineered so that it's stronger, it lasts longer, it comes with a warranty, it doesn't warp and twist and crack like all the issues we have with regular framing.
Gotcha.
So it does help a lot for longevity.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You want to talk about fences?
The one thing about fencing really is just staining. As long as you keep your fence clean, don't let any moss or mildew or anything grow on it, and just stain it every couple of years. Keep the debris, but a lot of people don't realize is they think, oh, I'm just going to pile all these leaves up against my fence, it'll be fine, it'll disintegrate. But as soon as that material hits your fence, it starts to disintegrate that cedar. So you don't want to have anything up against your fence line to help it rot, essentially. So just kind of keeping everything clean and away from there, and again, just keeping it stained, and that'll help kind of seal in and protect the moisture.
So you mentioned stain, but you can also use those. They're not really paints, but they are made specifically for decks and fences. So they're thicker. They apply a bit like a paint. Would that be something that's a little bit more helpful than a stain or not? He's pulling a face.
No, you want to be careful with those products, because what we've found over time is that they will peel.
Yes.
Like it won't actually adhere to your fence, and it won't actually suck or absorb up into and protect that wood. It will just kind of start to peel off. So you really want to use a wood grain stain. Really, really want to.
If you paint that product onto a piece of wood and it doesn't seal the wood, or if there's moisture inside that wood, it can no longer get out.
No.
Okay.
And so what happens is it rots from the inside, and we go to do deck repairs and people put the paint down the top, and it's so rotted it's not even funny.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Painted decks in the Northwest are a bad idea.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
One other thing for fences I wanted to mention was that we offer a post on pipe. There's a lot of people in the industry that use that.
Oh.
It's basically a steel pipe that gets set into concrete, and all of the wood on your fence post is actually out of the ground, and so it stops the post's ability to rot and fall over, which is the failure we see the most of, where it rots right at the ground and the fence falls over.
Even the treated wood rots.
Yeah.
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 It just takes one little tiny bit of exposed core, and that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. We did it in our back garden, but obviously most of the time you've got dirt. You mentioned leaves kind of pushed up against the bottom of the fence, but taking some kind of like plastic banding and nailing it to the bottom of the fence, so it gives a slight barrier between the dirt and the fence is something that we did. Is that something that you recommend for people that that aren't ready to replace yet, but they have they want to get a little longevity out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can use any of that little plastic. I mean, even the stuff that you like put in the ground to help like the grass from getting into your garden. Just putting that right up against the bottom, it'll really help too, because that's where it's going to rot a lot. Right, is the bottom with all of that debris. So yeah, anything like that would be helpful.
Not that I'm trying to take business away from you, but like if
No.
you spend the money with you guys putting the fence in, doing
Protect
that,
it.
either you having you do it or doing it after the fact, just to help the
Yep.
longevity of that, because
Absolutely.
fences cost a lot of money.
They do.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Massively expensive these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Make it last as long as possible.
Yes.
So I think there's one thing that people don't really think about when they're doing outdoor projects or fencing is any zoning or any permits that you have to pull. Are there any challenges that you guys come up with? He's smiling. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
What challenges aren't there?
Yeah, that's a pain point for sure.
Yeah.
It's a pain
Yeah.
point.
So, I mean, permits are painfully slow these days.
Oh my gosh.
We have some that have been in permitting for a year as of right now
Oh my
that are
gosh.
still working
That's
through.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Is that for a new fence or is that for a deck? or
For
is
a deck replacement.
Deck, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of times we have trouble with expanding decks, especially in
Uh-huh.
areas where there's critical areas nearby.
Okay.
You know, if you have a house that's by a creek or a house that's got wetlands nearby,
It doesn't even need to be nearby.
No.
It could be in your neighbor's yard.
Yeah, within
Do you have
300
to do
feet.
like a
If
wetland
there's-
study then
Yes.
at that
Yes,
point? Oh my
you
gosh,
sure do.
that is ridiculous.
We have a
Yeah.
biologist that's starting a project for us next
Oh,
week for
that's
that.
ridiculous.
Yep.
They require
you hear
require
that,
it to be
city?
done.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. So no, permits are important. I mean, it's a fact that we have to abide by. It's required by
Sure.
code that
Sure.
we have to get permits, and so we obtain those permits for our clients, and it is a process for sure.
I mean, there's some parts of it which I don't know if this is appropriate to talk about on radio, but if you have like a septic system and even if your septic system isn't anywhere near where you're going to put your deck, the county can literally require you to have it cleaned, tested, and regulated before you ever even start your deck project.
Yeah.
Yep.
What does my septic system have anything to do with my deck? It's nowhere near it. So, yeah,
That's
it's crazy.
interesting.
It's a way to keep regulation in place, I think.
I'm looking at Troy and I'm like, do you have the answer to
I
that?
know.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
crazy.
We need less. I mean, I'm all for environmental protections and all that, but
Yeah.
we just need less regulations. I mean, because the same people that put these regulations in place are talking about, well, how come we can't have affordable housing around here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
well, because there's too many regulations.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
the average
And
permit
they
takes
cost
us
money.
3 months to
Well,
obtain.
and that just costs money. And if it's a dangerous deck, I can see how that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did a project last year where I had to fight with the county because they wanted the homeowner to install a sprinkler system inside their house to even approve a
'Cause of
permit
a
for a
deck.
deck. I mean, it's just
There's
Why?
there's a lot of misinformed people. I think at the county they hire people and they
Well,
don't
that's a
necessarily
lot of
train 'em.
code. That's a lot of
yeah.
code misreading and
Yes.
interpretation.
100%,
right.
yes. I had to call and talk to a supervisor
Yeah.
and we figured it out, but it was like, no, sorry. They literally were like, no, denied. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Hang on, let me talk to somebody
Retrofitting
else.
a sprinkler system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They make you do that if you remodel your kitchen. That makes sense
Yeah.
because you're inside the house.
Sure.
We're not, right?
Yeah.
So,
No.
yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
that's the attention.
Sorry, permits are a pain point.
But what it highlights, going back to the beginning of the show when we talked about kind of, your attention to detail with things, just making sure that you're like really digging into what needs to be done, but also facilitating it and pushing
Absolutely.
it forward, because that might be a scary ordeal for a homeowner trying to, figure that out by
Well, or
themselves.
hire the wrong person and put in this massive deck and spend 6 figures or whatever on it, and then realize the county comes out and goes, you got to take that down.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we really work to advocate for our clients with that in that respect. We
Oh,
run the
absolutely.
permits through. I mean, she has a folder of every city for the area that we work in and what they require. Because Seattle's different from Redmond,
Sure,
it's different from
sure.
Kirkland. There's always
I
different
mean, in Everett, I
requirements.
have to walk into a building and talk to a person, whereas I do everything else online everywhere else, right?
Okay,
So some
yeah.
people aren't going to know that.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
That's a lot to take on, because as a builder, we develop the CAD drawings, we do the engineering, we do the site plans. That's all part of that package that we provide.
Gotcha.
If a homeowner tries to do that themselves, they have to find an architect or they have to know how to use the software to draw it. The county doesn't just doesn't accept a hand
Back of the
drawn.
napkin.
Not really.
Be a man.
Here's what I want to do.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Definitely professional.
yeah.
So beyond building fences and decks and outdoor living spaces, how do you guys engage with the local community? Sounds like you're
So I recently joined several of the local chambers.
okay.
Yay!
That's how we met. Yep.
Yes, it is. It is. I love it. It was not something I was aware of, honestly, a couple years ago. I
Oh, really?
will be completely honest. I thought that the Chamber of Commerce meant a bunch of stuffy people talking about regulations in a room somewhere.
Is she talking about us?
I really had absolutely no idea that it was
We're
like a
fun.
Yes, that it was a fun group,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
got to sit around and drink wonderful wine and just talk and get to know people. We've gotten to know so many amazing people in the entire community
good.
that I think has been so beneficial, and we love it. Like, we love Woodinville, right? We local, we support local, we love to eat and drink and have a great time here, and coming into town is always so fun, and there's so much to do. We support a lot of the local car shows.
Okay.
Andy is a classic car lover.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What do you got?
I have a 1972 Nova,
Okay. All right.
purchased by my grandmother when it
Wow.
was new.
brand
Wow,
new,
that
off
is
the
cool.
line.
That's
Yep.
yeah.
It's a great car. I enjoy showing it to people and
Yeah.
just enjoying the summer weather for that way.
Cool.
Yeah. So we do a lot of the local car shows, and then some of the non-Woodinville, like we support Snohomish, their car show down there too.
Yep.
And then like the Maltby car show that happens on Father's Day, we do that one too.
That's all Greater Woodinville.
Yeah, we love it, and we do the Woodinville Car Show here, like during Christmas with the Christmas light parade and everything. So anything that we can kind of get involved in that way is just really fun to come out in the community and meet people.
Yeah, we'll be down at the Woodinville concert series this summer. We'll be down there with our
booth.
Our
You
booth.
guys gonna do a booth?
Yeah, we are.
We'll do a
Cool.
booth down there this year for the concert
Yep.
series.
I'll be down there too.
I'm very
Come say hi.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be really fun. It should be really fun. And then on the other side of thing, I do volunteer with the local animal rescue group. I used to volunteer at Homeward Pet, but recently, well, I guess 10 years ago now, I started with Paws in Linwood.
Okay.
So I do that too.
My daughter was a vet assistant up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love it. 10 years. I still can't believe it's been 10 years since I've been there, and I just love it. It's amazing to do all of their events and all their 5Ks and runs and
Fun.
animal
It's a
walks
great
and stuff. So
organisation.
yeah,
Yep.
it really is.
So is Home Pets, but yeah, you have
Yes.
to pick, right? You have to pick and choose.
I do, exactly. I don't have enough time to do all the chamber events and volunteer.
Oh, I know. It can be a lot. It can be a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Definitely got to keep a schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes.
So, has there been any particular projects that really stood out to you? Any sort of unique challenges, great client story, or anything like that?
Yeah, I really enjoy the projects where we go in and we're doing an estimate for a client who has a real need for what they're asking for. Like, this is not just I want a new fancy deck kind of client. It's the client that was in an auto accident and who's now paralyzed and needs a bathroom renovation to make it so he can have privacy and use the restroom and be able to get out of his house through a garage ramp. We did a project for a customer over in Bothell. They had a really bad situation in their life that happened like 3 years before that, and we went in and we were able to develop a plan to move doors in the house, make the doorways wider, take out the stairs in the garage, build a ramp in the garage so he could actually, by himself, go to the restroom, get out of the house, go down the ramp, go out to the driveway, which before he couldn't leave the house without his wife because she'd have to push him down the super steep ramp.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So we do projects like that for people that I really think are, they're worthy of what they're getting. These people are, because they've been through a lot, and it just makes us feel good that we can provide that for somebody without,
Well,
I don't know.
to
It's
see
the right thing to do.
To see the actual joy on their face when they use this ramp for the first time, getting outside, it just blows your mind. Like you don't realize how restricting that is until you don't have it anymore.
Right.
And then to be able to have that back again. Now, we did one.
We've done 3 or 4 of those in the
Yeah.
last year or two where I get a call and this guy's like, hey, I need a ramp in case of a fire. I can't get out of my house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
That seems like a thing you need,
It's pretty
right?
important, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we take on jobs like that, and I love those jobs. My guys are really into it because they're like, they know they're making an actual difference in someone's life, not just giving them something fun to hang out on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are more of like our passion projects, I think.
Yeah,
are
that's
those things
cool.
that have meaning, yeah.
I like that.
I like that. I like that
that
too.
you have those passion projects. You're clearly passionate about all of it, but you two just talking about that, you both lit up when
Yeah.
you were talking about
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
it's
It's
always
really
cool.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think any way you can help other people just
Yep.
live their lives to the full is really great. We always like to give some takeaways for our listeners, and so we've covered a lot today, but what's some of the best advice for homeowners planning a project? For a homeowner thinking about in either a new fence or a deck this year, what are 3 things that they should keep in mind before starting the process? And then from there, I kind of want to follow on with kind of what are some red flags when hiring the contractor. So let's start with the 3 key components.
I think, first of all, go into it with a realistic time frame.
Okay.
You can't call me today and say I really need my deck done next weekend. That's not going to happen. So go in with like realistic, especially again if you need permits, right? It could be months. Also, maybe have a little bit of a design in mind or a style at least that you're looking for. We can do it for you, but it's very, very challenging when they're like, I don't know, I just want a deck here. Okay, well,
Right.
What do you use it for? What do you envision yourself doing? Barbecue space, relaxing space, table, chairs. Like, are you going to watch TV out here? Like, what are you going to need? So have something kind of basic in mind. And then something that we tell every single customer is always, always, always get multiple bids. Always. Get at least 3. Yes, I would love you to choose me first, but I want you to know you're going with the person that's actually going to listen to you, that's going to hear what you have to say, that's going to be in your budget, that's not going to just fleece you because they think they can. Like, really compare
Yeah.
the contractors to make sure you're getting exactly what you want.
Wow.
I like what you said there about having a little bit of an idea of like the design. You don't have to pull it all together, but knowing whether you like something contemporary or if it's traditional, and using sites like House or Pinterest to kind of find some things is probably beneficial to you guys. So you
Absolutely.
say, okay, these are
Yeah.
the kinds of styles that they like and shapes that they like, what they do and don't like. You have a better idea of providing something that really fits in with their lifestyle
Yes.
and kind of the aesthetic of their
Yes.
home. I think I like that. That's super important because I think some people just don't think about that. It's
No.
just, like you said, it's just a deck. Well, it isn't.
Yeah.
When you're spending that kind of money, you
Yeah.
want to love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's harder to talk about that with fences, but like I've even done bids before for customers who really want a horizontal fence to keep my family safe. Great, but is your kid going to use that horizontal fence like a ladder and climb over it into the neighbor's yard?
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that." Right. So even with that, you really kind of have to have something in mind so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about red flags then when hiring a contractor. You mentioned there, don't expect you guys to be able to turn around and do it next week. That to me would be a red flag if a contractor said, yeah, I can do it tomorrow, right? So I'm going to put that's one I would say was a red flag. But, kind of talk us about what some of those other red flags homeowners should be looking out for when hiring a contractor to do these kinds of things.
So one thing is I would always make sure to check like the LNI website. Are they licensed, bonded, insured? Do they have any strikes against them on there? Because it will be on there. It'll show you.
Oh yeah, you can go in, it will tell you, how many, whether it's an employee related one or if it's a customer related one, what it was. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would just always check that. Again, you're spending a lot of money. You don't want to all of a sudden have a guy that like never shows up.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times things like that, if there's any lawsuits, will be on there. And again, I think when you have a contractor out, make sure they're listening to you. Are they actually listening to you and what you want to do on your deck? They're not just gonna, oh yeah, you want lights. Oh yeah, you want benches. Oh yeah, you want to go with all of this high-end material when you don't need all of that. I never said that. I never said I wanted lights. Why did you put that on my bid?
Yeah.
Right? So just don't give in to the oversell because
Okay.
it's a reality.
Yep. Check references.
Yeah.
That's really important because someone can have Google reviews that are positive, but may not have great experiences behind those reviews.
Gotcha.
And
So
we
we find
know
that-
too, unfortunately, from experience, that some reviews references can be faked. I mean, it's easy. I can, call my brother and be like, "Hey, you're gonna be a reference for this guy that's gonna call you," right? But sometimes, like you'll hear it when people talk about their project if they're not using the right lingo or they don't really know. And maybe if you're brave enough, ask one of those references if you can come see it in person.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's awkward, but
That's a good
sometimes
point.
that person may be like, "Yeah, absolutely, come on by. It was a front porch. I don't care. Stop by anytime."
Yeah.
They can see it in person that way. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know it's always awkward when you say, "Tell us what the red flags will be."
I know.
I think, this is the point of the show, is to provide information, and I think it's we want to know what those warning signs are and walk away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue into our local gems. So we love asking our guests, kind of rounding out the program here, what local areas or what local establishments, areas, hikes, walks, could be a park, could be a restaurant, could be anything actually that you would consider maybe a local gem that you want to share with our listeners.
We love Vaughn's down at Woodinville. Their food is
love Vaughn's.
fantastic. Pizza Coop is awesome.
Yep.
As
Yep.
far as restaurants, those are really our high-level go-tos.
I like our go-tos. I love Patterson Cellars
Okay.
for wine. They have the best bubbly flight ever. You can actually go and get 3 sparkling wines on your
Wow.
flight. It's incredible.
Yeah.
You're talking my language, lady. Okay.
Yeah,
Which tasting room do you go to?
I really like the one in the Warehouse District.
Okay.
Yeah, the one down here, the other direction.
Hollywood area.
Yeah, the Hollywood area, thank you, is also really good. And there's the really amazing VV Pizza right next
Yeah.
door. That place is very, very good. But this is really super intimate. The owner is usually there. The people are super friendly. It's it's beautiful. So we love it there. And it's dog friendly. So that's amazing.
That's always
That's
important.
helpful.
yeah. We love
Yep.
it there. We love it there.
That's fantastic.
What
Well,
else?
those are all some places that we love to go to.
Yeah, we
too.
love those too.
Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
Vaughn's and Pizza Coop on the show actually, and
Awesome.
you enjoy the patio at Vaughn's. They've got great
Oh
cocktails.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, summertime's
Yes.
great right there. They do everything really
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very consistent.
drinks, food,
Drinks are
everything.
really good.
The ambiance, it can be loud in there, so just
Yes.
be aware of that. But it's lively. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know
Absolutely.
I don't know if any hidden gems. I don't know if this qualifies, but like Brightwater, the park, we take our dog for a walk there all the time. It's beautiful to walk through
A
the
lot of
woods
people
there.
don't know that you can do that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. I love walking our dog through there. It's super fun. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Sometimes there's deer walking around. It's really kind of cool for
It
being
doesn't
right there.
smell like poop.
No,
Nope, sure doesn't.
no, it sure doesn't.
You had to go there?
Yep.
I mean, that's a check in the plus column.
Wow, Troy. Well, I guess it's your show. You can say what you want.
I didn't say something else.
No, this is. I'm glad you didn't, because I'd have to bleep that one out or cut it out afterwards. Oh dear. Okay. Well, you know what? There may be people listening that haven't been to Vaughn's, they haven't been to the Pizza Coop or any of those places. So
Yeah.
whether we know of them, but they are hidden gems for people visiting the area or people who just don't.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out for sure.
People that are
Absolutely.
new. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
All right, well, we are going to take a really quick break. We've had a great conversation. We'll come back at the end of the show and get details where people can get in contact with you to find out more information about, your products, your services, and really just have a conversation with you guys and get to know you. And I think that's always a good first step before you make a decision, but just like talk to you about what you guys
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to do our real estate roundup. It's a quick one this week, but it is super important. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Never fear with Tend Home Team's Love It or List It program. That is where if you buy a house through us and you just don't love it within the first year, we will sell it for free. So that'll give you peace of mind that you're making the right decision as you're going into the process. We've got you covered here at Tend Home Team at EXP. 206-504-3660 or tendhometeam.com to find out more.
Welcome back to TLC, 10 Life Community Podcast. So we've talked all things outdoor spaces, fences and decks. Now we're going to shift gears just a little bit to real estate roundup. Okay, Troy, you ready?
I'm ready.
You're looking very serious over there. Mind you, it
I'm
is a
very-
serious topic we're going to talk about
Yes,
real quickly.
yes.
All right, so this is actually something we were talking about in the office earlier this week, but there's been, a huge increase, I think, in scams that are being sent around to people, usually by text messages. You've probably all heard about the one that's coming in from what appears to be WSDOT, saying you've got unpaid toll
Tolls.
fines.
Yep.
Click here,
Yep.
send us the money, right? We know it's not them because they wouldn't send you a text message. They would send you a
get a
bill in the
letter.
mail.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But these nefarious actions are going a little bit beyond some of these. That's bad enough as it is, but there's some ones that can have a massive financial impact on people, and so we wanted to talk about that just a little bit because it could be catastrophic. Wow, I can't.
Who's having trouble now?
Me, clearly. Catastrophic is a word I'm struggling with today. So let's talk about this, Troy. Email-based wire fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Okay. Do you want to kind of set the scene?
Well, real estate transactions usually involve a lot of money. And
They do indeed.
yeah, so providing wire instructions for whether or not you're getting into contract to buy a house, to put your earnest money down. Oftentimes we wire that into escrow now. There's other opportunities during closing when you're either a seller, you're wiring funds, or you're getting funds wired to you from a sale proceed, and then if you're a buyer, you're wiring your down payment funds or whatever funds are required to close. And so there's a lot of wiring that goes on in real estate transactions, and there's been a lot of fraud recently, and it's sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars goes out the door.
And you don't get it back, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you don't. Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about to somebody about this earlier this week, that this had happened, so we thought it was worth pointing out. So can you kind of talk us through some things that you should think about?
So yeah, don't just trust the wire instructions by email. Expect a call from the title company, and if the title company doesn't call you to verify the instructions, be very leery before you wire any money or accept any or give them any wire instructions to wire money to you. It can go both ways. So doing a transaction today, actually, in Arizona, and the title company called me to verify the wire instructions. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not just
That's
going to
good.
email you.
Nope. And if you get an email from an alternative they give you alternative wiring instructions, be very leery of that and definitely report it.
Yeah. Call your title and escrow company and verify.
Yeah, so I mean, 9 times out of 10, your wire instructions are going to come through an encrypted portal. So the title company will send you an email, and then you'll have to log into some portal to where those instructions will be, and that's safe. But just having them sent by email is typically not. You don't want to put your account information.
Yeah. I think timing of the emails and phone calls is also
Yes.
super important. Do you want to
Yes.
talk about that?
I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Well, if somebody calls you at 9 o'clock at night,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they're not open, so
Is
they're
that
not calling
suspicious?
you.
Wait,
yeah. But your title and escrow, they're going to be normal working hours, right?
Yeah.
So office hours. If somebody calls you at 7 o'clock, it probably isn't them.
Yeah, and if they call you, just ask to call them right back.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, especially because we're on Pacific time, right? So where are they that they're calling you at 9 o'clock at night? If it's East Coast, it's really wrong.
Yeah, really wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you call them back at the number that was provided in the documents, and they said no, I didn't call you, then you know what's going on. You know what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just have to do that a little bit extra. And then if you get an email, look at the URL, see where it comes from. Oftentimes it'll say the name will be correct, but then if you click in to where it's actually coming from, it's like completely different.
Yeah, you don't even have to
Yep.
click. You can just hover over it, and it will
Yeah,
give
sometimes,
you the
yeah.
Yep.
It's you have to check, and double check.
Yep.
If in doubt, don't wire it out.
No.
No.
If in doubt, don't wire it out. Listen to
Oh, I
you.
like that.
Must be me in marketing, huh?
And if you're leery of all that, just get a check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Old-fashioned.
Old school.
Old school cashier's
Scary.
check. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but sometimes it's worth taking a check and waiting for it to clear. If that gives you
Yeah.
better peace of mind
Yeah,
at the end of the
exactly.
day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to be scaremongers, but it's just worth noting that this has happened. I mean, I think people are more and more, there's these scams happening, so just be aware of it and just take
Yeah, it's never
precautions.
happened to us, but it's happened close to us.
Yeah.
So well, I know people this has happened to. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's a thing.
Yep.
Wow, I feel like I've brought down the tone of the show today with that one. Sorry.
Well, I think we've had a good show and some
We've
good
had a
wine.
great show. Great wine.
Great
Yeah.
outdoor space. I'm
Excellent.
excited about spending some time outside.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, it's not.
I
that's
mean,
why I'm here.
soon.
Yeah.
Maybe not
see.
today,
We'll
but
see.
soon.
Soon.
Exactly. All right. So if people are interested in finding out more about you guys, talking to you, where can they get hold of you? Where's your website, your
Yeah.
phone numbers, anything you want to share where it makes it you easy and accessible?
It's pretty easy. I mean, really, it's just HeilmanDeckandFence.com. Yeah, go to our website, or there's 3 or 4 different phone numbers on there. You can look on Facebook. We've got Facebook pages. You can message us. You could text us. There's so much information and different ways to get a hold of us. And one of us will almost always answer the phone if we're in the office. So we want to answer your questions and help you and talk to you about these kind of things.
And
yeah.
the spelling of Heilman is Heilman, just in case.
What did you say?
H.
H.
What's a H?
All right, so I'm sorry. Let the American do it. Troy, would you like to spell it out for us?
No, let's
Or
let
maybe
Andy do it.
Andy or Amanda spell it out for
I'll
us,
spell it.
please.
It's Heilman Deck and Fence, all spelled out. .com.
Why did I put up with this? All day long he's been saying, what did you say? I feel like I'm speaking a different language. Okay.
She's FOB today.
What?
Fresh off the boat.
Wow, I might be getting back on the boat in a minute. Okay, Troy, if I want to get hold of you and find out more information about buying, selling homes, or asking questions about things like wire fraud when it relates to your home transaction, how can I get hold of you?
Well, I am at tend, T-E-N-D, hometeam.com or 206-504-3660 and all the socials.
All right. Well, it's been a great show. Thank you very much. If you like the show, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if you're watching on YouTube,
Ding the dinger.
all right.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for
you guys,
having
for
us.
having us
Thanks.
on. It was
It was-
great.
It was great.
Fun show.
Super fun. Thank you.
Till next time, guys.
Till next time. Bye-bye.